Live from the Ed McMahon Mass Communications Center at Quinnipiac University, this is QNN, the Quinnipiac News Network.
Good evening and welcome to QNN. I'm Emma Carmen.
And I'm Dan Ball. 18 years ago yesterday marked the anniversary of the terrorist attacks on the United States on September 11, 2001.
Olivia Schuler is live on campus with how students remembered the day.
Quinnipiac held a ceremony on the quad yesterday in remembrance of the nation's largest terrorist attack. I spoke with members of the Quinnipiac community to hear their stories. "8:46 a.m. That's when Flight 11 hit the North Tower.
It affects me a lot because I could have lost my dad.
Everyone has memories from that tragic day. President Donald Trump reauthorized the Victim Compensation Fund. This covers medical expenses and deaths related to the terrorist attack. Live on the Quinnipiac Quad, Olivia Schuler, QNN.
Well, we have a winner in the 2019 New Haven mayoral primary elections, and it may not be who you expected. Challenger Justin Elliker beat incumbent New Haven Mayor Tony Harp in the Democratic primary on Tuesday. Elliker racked up some 6,900 votes to Harp's 45, according to Elliker's campaign manager. Harp was New Haven's mayor for 3 straight terms and had yet to lose an election before Tuesday. From New Haven to Hamden we go. Eliza Krasinski is standing in front of the Miller Library to update everyone on the Hamden Democratic mayoral campaign. Eliza, what's the latest?
Thanks, you guys. I'm standing at one of the many places in Hamden where residents could come and vote. The other day I spoke to a few members of the community about what they thought about the Democratic primaries. Local voters headed to the polls Tuesday for the 2019 Democratic primary.
Judy Oley and hopefully her and Kurt Lang can foster a new relationship so that Quinnipiac can grow as a whole.
Now that the polls are closed, the 2019 Democratic nominee for mayor in Hamden is Kurt Balonzo Lang. Lang will face JK in the November election, so be sure to follow all the news with updates to come. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks so much, Eliza. With the new addition of new faculty over the summer, it appears that the College of Arts and Sciences is running a bit short on office space. The university has placed temporary trailers in the CAS parking lot containing 20 offices for faculty members. The trailers are expected to remain there for 3 years, with the ultimate goal being the construction of another permanent building in the coming years. And it's a new school year here at Quinnipiac, and you know what that means, new faces joining the Bobcat community for the first time. New inclusions in the higher-ups of Bobcat Nation include Eric Sykes as Vice President of Enrollment, Janelle Chiasiria as the Dean of School of Health Sciences, Chris Rausch as the Dean of the School of Communications, and Todd Sloan as the Vice President for Development and Alumni Affairs.
The emergency management team is going the extra mile to make sure Quinnipiac is a fully secured university. New this semester, the team will be sending out a series of safety messages to inform the university community about terminology and communication protocols used during an emergency. Now, Quinnipiac dorms Pearl Roth, Larson, and Troop are closed as a result of asbestos being found in those during buildings this summer. Matt Petrie is live with more.
Asbestos found in Quinnipiac's Perloff dorm over the summer has displaced multiple sophomore and freshman students, and I spoke to them to find how they were affected. Quinnipiac students expecting to move into Perloff come September were in for a rude surprise when it was found that asbestos had been residing within the dorm, forcing it to be shut down for the year.
I just think that a little more notice would have been better, but I'm happy with my living situation now, and I'm glad that it all worked out.
Quinnipiac University continues to work with students like Suzette to help them get their dorming situation back on track. Live from Bobcat Way, Matt Petrie, QNN.
Next up, we move from the Quinnipiac community to communities around the country as we take a look at the national headlines.
We now have Chris Stacy in studio to tell us more. Chris, take it away.
Thanks, Emma. A new law that allows student-athletes to make money off their names and likeness just got passed in California. The law passed the California Senate and now goes to the desk of the governor for approval. The NCAA has already written a letter to the governor stating that the law will give California schools an unfair advantage in recruiting. The vote in the state Senate was passed by a vote of 39-0. With the FDA and e-cigarettes in the headlines lately, President Donald Trump is looking to rid the country of the devices. The Trump administration is preparing to ban all flavored e-cigarettes due to a recent spike in lung problems in people who have used such devices. The Trump administration went on to explain that the use of e-cigarettes among young people is also concerning. It was announced Tuesday by the President, Donald Trump, that he had fired National Security Advisor John Bolton. Trump went on to say in a tweet that he and others in the administration strongly, quote, disagreed with many of his suggestions. Trump also thanked Bolton for his service and stated that he will name a new national security advisor next week. And finally, if you live off the coast of Georgia, you might have seen something different on the horizon earlier this week. A South Korean cargo ship capsized off the coast, leaving 4 crew members trapped in the rolled over vessel. The U.S. Coast Guard was able to rescue all crew members safely on Tuesday. Questions still remain on just how the ship capsized in the first place. The Coast Guard is still investigating. That's all for this week. Dan, Emma, back to you.
Thank you, Chris. Coming up on QNN, a conversation with one of the tallest new members of the Quinnipiac athletic community.
Plus, a Quinnipiac staple has been shut down. Find out more when we come back.
Welcome back to QNN on this Thursday evening.
In the past, Dan, we've had some pretty tall bobcats, but none surpassing the size of Seth Pinckney. Taylor Hurd is live with the story. Taylor?
If you ever find yourself walking around Quinnipiac's campus and see a head above the rest, it's most likely Seth Pinckney, 7-foot freshman on the men's basketball team. But there's more to his story besides his height. There's one question Quinnipiac students ask when they meet 7-foot freshman Seth Pinckney.
Does this guy play basketball or not? Stay tuned. Watch, come to our games. That's it.
If you'd like to see Seth and the Bobcats in action, their first home game is Friday, November 22nd at 7:30 p.m. This is Taylor Hurd, QNN News.
Thanks, Taylor. Student Government Association President Austin Calvo and his executive board have a fresh slate of initiatives for the 2019-2020 school year. Those plans include building money for laundry into a student's tuition, the creation of an external affairs committee that works with the town of Hamden, and continuing their advocacy for club sports. So keep an eye out for all those initiatives this year.
Sad news for Quinnipiac students. A local food hotspot has officially closed. The owners have decided to close Drugie's for family matters. Drugie's was located at 3500 Whitney Avenue and was a restaurant that had it all, from pizza to milkshakes to appetizers and more. Sadly, it looks like it'll be shut down permanently as a new restaurant has opened in its place on Whitney Ave called Spuds Your Way.
Many daily activities are resulting in hospitalizations and even death. Between drinking one too many soft drinks and the vaping generation, the epidemics are continuing to grow.
We now have Dante Toro alongside to fill us in on all of the week's health news.
A 6th person has died in the United States from lung disease that has been linked with vaping. A woman in her 50s was the first person from the state of Kansas to die from this outbreak. There have now been over 450 possible cases of lung illness caused by the use of e-cigarettes across 33 states. New studies have found that drinking 2 or more glasses of any type of soda daily can lead to an early death. Over 450,000 people were studied. Sugar-sweetened sodas can lead to deaths from digestive diseases. Artificially sweetened sodas can lead to deaths from circulatory diseases. All sodas can lead to deaths from Parkinson's disease. Good news for those who love their extra sleep. Researchers say that adults who find the time to nap once or twice a week have a 48% lower risk of cardiovascular problems compared to those who don't nap. No association was discovered for how long these naps can be or how frequently these naps take place. At least 3 people have died from a fatal mosquito-borne outbreak called EEE in the United States this year. An adult from Rhode Island has died from the illness just 9 days after the state confirmed the case. Only 5 to 10 cases are reported every year, but 30% of them result in death. A person in Michigan and a woman in Massachusetts have also fallen victim to this disease. That's all I have for This Week in Health. Emma and Dan, back to you.
Thanks so much, Dante. Coming up on QNN, a weather update from Matt McAuliffe.
Plus, our own Tom Krasnowski has the latest scoop from our colleagues at HQ Press. Stay with us.
Sleeping Giant State Park has officially reopened for the first time since the tornado last year. The park closed on May 15, 2018 and opened up this past June, allowing visitors to come back and hike some of their favorite trails. The effort to restore the park cost approximately $735,000, according to the recent release. The Federal Emergency Management Agency is expected to reimburse about 75% of that total. We had some cooler weather this week, Dan, but past few days it might be warming up this next week, it seems.
That's right, and Matt McAuliffe is live with more on this week's weather.
Yes, thank you, Dan and Emma. You guys are absolutely right. It is looking like a gorgeous week for Quinnipiac students and Hamden residents. We're talking steady 70 degrees, 80 degrees, and little to no rain at all. I want to jump right into the 7-day forecast because we are one of the most accurate 7-day forecasts here at QNN. I want you to take a look at Friday and the weekend for first. We have tomorrow dry, partly cloudy with 70 degrees, and then Saturday it is mostly cloudy. That is your biggest threat for rain, but it's looking like it will stay dry. Sunday I will get to later, but if you look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, my oh my, 81, 75, and 76 degrees and completely clear. There is no sign of rain for those days. Now I want to go back to my pick of the weekend. That's Sunday. Sunday is looking absolutely gorgeous. We are talking 81 degrees and no chance of rain. So if you're a golfer, you're going to want to book a tee time early. They're going to rack up fast. And for the night, it's going to be cooler, 53 degrees, and it is looking absolutely gorgeous on Sunday. You're going to want to head outside and have a Sunday afternoon for yourself. And for the rest of the week, I mean this entire week, this entire forecast, we are hanging on to summer for one more week. So enjoy it. Back to Dan and Emma at the desk.
Thanks, Matt. Really looking forward to that warm weather holding out.
Well, the fall athletic season at Quinnipiac is in full swing, and the men's soccer team is preparing for another run at a MAC title. Our own Tom Krasnowski is with Brian Murphy on what makes the Bobcats so diverse in this week's HQ Press interview.
Thanks, Dan. I'm here with Brian Murphy from HQ Press to talk about your capstone project. How are you doing today, Brian?
I'm doing good. Pleasure to be here.
All right, great. So first, take us through it. What's the base here for your capstone project?
It's basically going through the recruitment of the men's soccer team. They're the most diverse team out of all of our athletics teams here. They've got a lot of international kids, 13 total out of 27 on the roster, but they've also got 8 kids from Connecticut, so it's an interesting makeup of the team, a lot of local kids, but also a lot of international kids. So I'm kind of diving into how exactly that head coach, Eric DaCosta, goes about recruiting his players.
Now, 13 out of 27 is a lot of international players. What do you think about Quinnipiac specifically appeals to players from overseas?
I think just the sport in general, soccer, you do get a lot of international players. It's not just Quinnipiac, but it's also a lot of the other teams looking at the MAC. They're all made up of a lot of players from other countries as well. If you look outside, soccer pretty much is the most popular sport in any country outside of the U.S., so that's where a lot of the interest is. And I think coming to the U.S. is one of those dreams for some of these kids where they get an education and they're also allowed to play collegiate soccer. So Quinnipiac is just one of the many options they have. Obviously, they've got a great program here in the MAC. They do very well. They just went to the championship last year. So having that perennial success is a reason why they're going to come to Quinnipiac.
Now, and about the people that are from America on this team, you mentioned 8 of them are from Connecticut, and most of them else are from the East Coast. Now, if they can appeal to so many international students to come over and play soccer, why is it that domestically they're only getting people from around the region?
Well, I know talking to Eric DaCosta a couple of times, and he said that he's been around the area, and he's actually coached a couple of kids. I remember I interviewed it last year about Eamon Whalen, and he saw Eamon going up when he was younger, about 16 years old, around the process where you're going to start recruiting kids. So it's kind of building those relationships earlier before they're looking at colleges, and then they realize that, hey, I might want this player on this team. Obviously, when you have so much of your focus internationally, that is going to take away your focus in the U.S. in the recruitment. So sometimes you could, I guess, say it's a little easier to recruit when it's local, but Eric DaCosta has those relationships already in place, which makes it a lot easier to recruit kids just from Connecticut.
I'm sure it makes it easier to actually coach the team with having known all those players with their ties, but all the players from international, they speak different languages, they've been taught different styles of play. I mean, how challenging is it for a coach to actually put all these pieces together?
It's got to be challenging. It's about kind of getting it right as soon as they step on campus, just getting that team morale together, doing things, different things together, like team bonding activities, making sure that they are comfortable. I remember talking to them last year. They had one of the freshmen that was coming over late from Spain, didn't speak a word of English, and he said the key was just getting him in and immediately getting him comfortable. They do work with the kids, teaching them English a little bit, and it's also just, but once they're out on the field, he said soccer's a different language of its own. It doesn't matter what you speak, you're just going out there and you're playing the game. So obviously once they're playing the game that they love, it doesn't matter what the language that they speak.
And finally, are there any specific stories that you're really looking forward to digging into for this project?
I'm really looking forward to the international kids. I mean, there's kids from Norway, Australia, Sweden, Slovakia. I mean, it's all over that they're coming from. So I'm really interested looking at some players like Simon Hillinger from Germany, Jordan Bennett from Australia, Jeppe Hare from Norway, seeing their stories, what it was like for soccer for them in those countries, and obviously each one's going to have a different story about how they came to Quinnipiac. So I'm very interested in learning about the international players.
All right, looking forward to reading it when it's all said and done. QU Soccer, a very diverse squad. In the meantime, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys. Coming up on QNN, Brooke Riley is here to fill us in on all things Hollywood.
Plus, later in the show, we have the latest on the Quinnipiac volleyball team's hot start. All that and more up next.
You can officially now pre-order the brand new iPhone 11 according to Apple, and Dance Moms has some big news if you've followed them through the past couple years.
Brooke Riley is here with all of the latest news and gossip from Hollywood.
Thanks, guys. That's right. I have some gossip coming for you. To start, Apple unveiled new products at its conference in the Steve Jobs Theater in Cupertino, California on Tuesday. The iPhone 11 will be available for pre-ordering beginning tomorrow at 8 a.m. and will begin shipping on September 20th. It will come in 6 different colors and can come in premium models, which are the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max with either a 5.8 or 6.5-inch display screen. Apple also revealed its Series 5 Apple Watch and 6th generation iPad. Apple Arcade is a new gaming system that will be available in the App Store beginning on September 19th. The company says new games are expected in the coming weeks. And Alex Trebek made his return to Jeopardy on Monday night to an excited crowd. Trebek revealed back in March that he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and would be undergoing treatments. When he returned, he said, quote, "Jeopardy begins its 36th season on air, and I'm happy to report I'm still here," end quote. Trebek shared that he cried happy tears when he learned the treatment was working and believes he has an advantage over others fighting the disease because all the fans that have shared their positive thoughts with him. Dance Mom star Abby Lee Miller is taking steps on the road to recovery. Miller appeared in public for the first time in over a year on Tuesday's episode of The Doctor. She lifted her hands off of her walker as fans cheered her on. Miller was diagnosed with Burkitt lymphoma and underwent several surgeries. Prior to this, she spent 8 months in prison due to bankruptcy fraud. Although she did not appear in public throughout the time of her treatments, she kept her fans updated using social media. Miller had been informed that there was a chance she would never walk again last summer and is making strides to overcome this. Kevin Hart was released from the hospital yesterday after spending 10 days there following a car accident. Hart suffered from 3 spinal fractures after he crashed his 1970 Plymouth Barracuda on September 1st. Hart is remaining positive and said he is grateful to be alive. He is currently in rehab and doctors say the goal is to get him home as soon as possible. He underwent surgery and is expected to fully recover. Well, that's all I have for the latest in the world of entertainment. Emma and Dan, back to you guys.
Thanks, Brooke. Coming up on QNN, a college sports team is finding a unique way to help the environment.
But before that, Dan, Brian Schwartz is in studio to update you on what's going on in the sports world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to QNN, and from the court to the turf, it's been an exciting last week in the world of sports. Brian Schwartz has the latest.
Quinnipiac sports are taking Hamden and the world by storm. Brian, take it away.
Thanks, guys. Around Quinnipiac University, a new era is taking place. New president, new logo, now a new volleyball coach. Kyle Robinson is in his first season as the new skipper of the Bobcats, taking over for Chris Czaplinski. So far, 4-2 in out-of-conference play for the Q. The players seem to be happier in Robinson's family atmosphere.
He's hardworking. He knows when we have to be serious and get the job done, but also during the practice, he will have some funny moments to make us relax and take a deep breath. I really like it.
Zampati, Robinson, and the Bobcats now head to upstate New York for the Ellis Rowland Memorial Tournament this weekend. On to football now. News Jets fans did not expect to wake up to this morning. Sam Darnold ruled out for Monday night's game against the Browns. The Jets' young quarterback has mono, according to his head coach, Adam Gase. Darnold could be out multiple weeks. Trevor Siemian will get the start for New York in Week 2. Sticking in the NFL, Antonio Brown's Patriots tenure is off to an eventful start, to say the least. Brown practicing with New England, but at the back of his mind, rape allegations. His former trainer, Brittany Taylor, accused AB of sexual assault on 3 separate occasions. Brown has denied all accusations against him. His status for Sunday's game against Miami right now is up in the air. With Wednesday being 18 years since the horrific 9/11 attacks, the Mets took to honor the first responders as they do every year. This year, though, Mets star rookie Pete Alonso went above and beyond. Without MLB's permission, he ordered the entire Mets team cleats to wear honoring those first responders. Major League Baseball doesn't typically allow this, but here they let it slide. Now, Dan and Emma, Pete Alonso just really seems to get it. A great way to commemorate 9/11 and honor those victims and their families. Mets fans are really lucky to have this guy. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Brian and Emma. Before we go, a sports story a little out of the ordinary.
I agree with that. Broken hockey sticks are usually a sign of frustration or a hard slap shot, but for Florida Gulf Coast University, they're a sign of saving the environment.
That's right. FGCU hockey players have helped to start the Rink to Reef program, in which old sticks are repurposed into mini reefs to help water quality. The reefs give the oysters in the area enough room to filter water and help get rid of problematic substances like algae.
The movement has caught on as the local ECHL team, the Florida Everblades, and the NHL have contributed through the NHL Green program. Well, that's all the time we have on tonight's show.
That's right. For everybody working hard behind the scenes, all of our reporters and my co-host Emma Carmen, I'm Dan Ball. We'll be back next week with more news from around Quinnipiac, Hamden, and New Haven.
What an ending to this T-Wolves Thunder game. Let's get right to it. Karl Anthony Towns had himself a ball game. It was a tie game with under 40 seconds to go. Towns doing his thing. He had 30 points in this game, his fifth 30-point game of the season already for Karl Anthony Towns. Take a look again. Showing up when the team needs him the most. 2-point lead for Minnesota, 1.1 seconds left. Towns at the line. Misses the first free throw, but check out what happens after that free throw. Ryan Saunders tries to sub in Jordan Bell. Bell walks onto the court. Listen to Chris Paul pointing what he saw out to the refs.
Well, you want him to make this free throw. Explanation from Scott Foster.
Saunders shocked at the call, which was the second delay of game on the T-Wolves. Take a look at this sequence. Paul pointing out Bell having his jersey untucked. Bell tries to tuck in his jersey as he walks onto the court. The NBA rulebook states a delay of game shall be called for a player entering the game when beckoned by an official with his shirt untucked. Yes, the Thunder would get a T. Technical foul shot down by 2. Gallinari would knock down the free throw. Thunder down 1. Now that fan loved it. Towns up to shoot a second free throw. Towns makes it, increases the lead to 2. Steven Adams, the cross-court pass. Dennis Schroeder. As time expires off glass. Here's how it sounded on the radio in OKC.
Baseball passes front court, intended for Schroeder. Catches, lays it up, and in at the buzzer. Oh, my goodness. A Thunder miracle. It's tied at 122.
How about Schroeder hugging that police officer in the middle of the celebration? A few minutes into overtime, because that's where we ended up, with the Thunder up 1. Schroeder nails the pull-up J. Another big shot. Thunder up 3. Under 2 to play. Thunder up 5. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander looks up, delays, and then he says, you know what, I'm going to hit from there. Thunder would outscore the T-Wolves 17-5 in overtime, and they would win 139-127. Here's Chris Paul on the ending of this one.
That happens more often than not. Sometimes refs just be like, whatever, but that is the rule. You know what I mean? If you check in without your jersey and tuck, it's a delay game. Call it what you want to, but...
Did you know that they had already had one earlier in the game?
Yep.
What we have here is a block party, and Hassan Whiteside is hosting it. It's Blazers playing the Bulls. Look, it was a good night, but a rough start to the day.
Man, they stole my trash cans, man. And left the trash. They got me. It's an evil world we live in.
Who steals just the can? I don't know. So we're going to have a block party. 8 minutes to play in the fourth. Blazers up 4. Whiteside blocking Kobe White. That's his 8th block of the game. Then watch this to Carmelo Anthony. And Anthony going to bury the triple. He had 23 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists. Also, no turnovers. 5 minutes left. Blazers up 4. Zach LaVine. Nah. 9th block. Lauri Markkanen. No. That's 10. His 5th career game with 10 blocks. 15 seconds to play. Blazers up 2. Damian Lillard. Whiteside is there, though. Is he cleaning up the trash? Wow. 2 points shy of a triple-double.
Whoever stole my trash can, man, give it back, man.
Stole my trash can, man. Give it back. Yeah. 8 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 blocks. That is ridiculous. Blazers win by 4.
Sweet, that's fine. Nope, that's fine. Hey, this is going to be on SportsCenter. Canadiens taking on 2018 Stanley Cup champion Washington Capitals. This is in the nation's capital, and the Habs had all of the goals, a ton of scoring. But Alex Ovechkin makes sure that they get out of town with a couple bruises. Look at this massive and clean and shoulder-to-shoulder and legal hit there on Jonathan Drouin.
It's hockey. It's not a ballet.
Yeah, it's not the ballet. No, so it was a hockey play. Legal hit. Trying to light a spark. A losing effort. The Habs won 5-2.
The best athletes on campus usually play for a varsity team, but there might be exception here at Quinnipiac, Jonathan.
Roberto Casillas signed a professional soccer contract in Mexico, but a devastating injury caused him to switch paths and pursue a college education in the United States. Here's his story. It all started with an internet search.
I just wrote a good college with a good soccer team and a good communications or journalism program, and Quinnipiac popped up immediately.
Roberto Casillas was an accomplished athlete in Mexico, but now he's living the American dream.
He told me he was some kind of pro soccer player, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe I should talk to this guy a little more.
Casillas started for Cruz Azul's academy team and then signed a contract with senior team Atlético San Luis, a third division outfit in Mexico.
When I was young, I would train every day, not go to parties, not go out with my friends, miss family events, whatever it was, just because of soccer.
But a broken patellar tendon, which sidelined Casillas for 2 years, ended what could have been a promising career in the sport.
I knew I gave it everything until it was impossible for me to go back to playing at that level.
The game has been a part of him since he was a young boy. Now, beaming with pride in his white Mexico jersey, he explains he's still invested as ever.
I wanted to be a soccer journalist or being in sports media covering soccer, and that's a part of sports media in the U.S. that is not as competitive as, say, in Mexico would be.
And he's even got his hockey player best friend involved.
He kind of got me into soccer a little bit. Like, he would just throw it up on the TV, and then we just start watching it, and I kind of get into it.
It's more than that they have in common.
We just have like the same kind of sense of humor, which helps for a lot of different things.
Casillas has made his mark on Quinnipiac in the control room and on air. But what's next?
Who knows where life's going to take me.
Great story, Brooke. Casillas told me he misses playing soccer at that really high level, but he's still carving it up on the intramural fields. He can drill past everyone, score past everyone. I don't think it's a real issue.
Yeah, I'm sure he's pretty much the best player out there. Good to see him enjoying the game again.
Wouldn't surprise me if he's the best player there.